listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello. Welcome to another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home for original people peace, reciprocity, and positivity. And I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. How's everybody doing this great weekend? Yes, the cold is still going on. It is freezing all over the nation. Right now, we are in the midst of a cold front, but, we got through the week. We done started off our what they say is the new year pretty good. Everything's going all right. So I got some good stuff for you today. Before diving into the content, I got something I want to acknowledge before I dive in. And then, of course, before I dive in, I'm going to also do a quick overview of the Narrative Podcast to all, new listeners that are unfamiliar with me and my platform. So before I do my synopsis, I just want to, take this time to acknowledge the loss of somebody, a beloved figure within our community. With all this stuff going on, I got the news late. This person passed on the 15th of January. So I seen it pop up in my feed. I think I went live on Thursday. I believe that was the 18th or the 19th. So I think it popped up in my feed right after I had went live on Thursday. So I just want to acknowledge this person and for all the great work she's done within her career. And it did strike a little blow because I cannot imagine my childhood without this person. So without any further ado, we're going to take a quick second to acknowledge the loss of our beloved sister, Narrator Virgin. She was an actress. She passed away. She was 77 years young. If you recognize the name, if you're a Gen Xer, you should recognize the name. She's done many things all throughout her career, but the thing she's most noted for was the time that she spent on a Nickelodeon's television show called Today's Special, which aired from 1980 to 87. So, that she was huge over in Canada. She had her own show over on Canada, years after that ended. A show called Eye on Toronto. Sorry, it took that long pause. I got lost in my notes. Which is basically a current events, a Canadian version of, what we got over here over on the U.S. I believe it's current affairs, the Canadian equivalent to that. She also served on their did some politics, got an organization over there. She lobbied to participate in the Federal Liberty Party over there, which was much needed. and she also did some work in the Hamilton School District. She got them to add Black History Month to their curriculum, or was lobbying for them to get it added to the curriculum. I don't know if they did or not, but I imagine they did. But like I said, you know, she was, for what I remember on that show, she was pretty great. Can't say I'm familiar with all her other work because, you know, I live over in U.S. We don't get Canadian programming over here. But, yeah. So we're going to just take a quick moment of silence to remember our sister, Neuron Virgin. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a quick synopsis of the Narrator podcast. I'm going to just lay it out for you, everything that I discuss and I talk about here on my platform, and you know, what to expect, what type of content you guys can expect from me. I'm kind of deviating from my normal format. I got a section that I usually do at the beginning. I'm going to just try something new today and try to insert that towards the end. So all my narrators, they already know what section I'm talking about, but just the heads up, I'm going to try something different today. Just working on my timing. So yeah, I'm going to just give you a brief synopsis of the Narrator podcast. So let's kick it off. Start at the top. Tippy, the name. The Narrator podcast. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original culture. So I'll get to the original part a little bit later. So what I want to do is I want to design a platform to basically be in response to how the mainstream media portrays our people and our culture, and they portray us basically in a negative light. So what I want to do is design a platform where, you know, I'm playing up all our strengths and focusing on our people through a positive lens rather than the negative lens that the media focuses, you know, our people and our culture through. So, you know, it's intentionally done. They do that primarily to generate sales, to sell news, but then they also do it because the media is ran by, you know, the higher echelon, the powers that be, aka wealthy white people. And so to sustain their status in the world, to keep their power structure in play, they take and twist and manipulate the news. They want to make everybody else seem degenerate when compared to them. They want to make everyone seem like low in intelligence, violent, lazy, you know, morally degenerate. So they manipulate, you know, all these images, and they try to control and warp and skew everybody's perception of other people. Now, they do this to everybody, but they especially like doing it to our people, original people. And the reason why they like doing it to us the most is because they fear us the most, because they're aware of how they came into power. They know their history and they know ours. And their biggest fear is that once we stop fighting amongst ourselves and start unifying and building and, you know, what Biden say, build back better. Once we start as a community building back better, restoring all that, got taken away from us in slavery and in integration when we integrated, they're afraid that we would turn around and do to them what they've done and been doing to us and are doing to us. But it's an ill-gotten fear because that's not who we are as a people. We don't have a history of rape. We don't have a history of pillaging. We don't have a history of, lying, trying to change history, claiming things as ours that's not ours, saying we invented things that we didn't invent. That's their history. Our history is a rich, loving history, full of learning, full of enlightenment, spirituality, abundance. Everywhere we existed on the planet, we nurtured civilization, we furthered civilization. We added to civilization. We didn't take away from it. As a matter of fact, if you really want to keep it a million, we mothered and fathered civilization. Everything came from us. Got a little long-winded in trying to get through this synopsis. That's kind of one of my big goals here on the Narrator podcast, is just to keep everything brief and to the point. So more about my podcast. My mission statement basically is to, encourage all my listeners to bring awareness to how important it is to responsibly use your digital spaces in concerns to the way, our people is portrayed. Just basically to use your platforms for positivity rather than negativity, because like I said, the media intentionally gives the rest of the world negative frames of reference when it comes to our people and our culture. So what I try to do here on the Narrator podcast is encourage the listening audience to, share positive frames of reference about, our people and our culture. Because like I said, the media intentionally vilifies us, and all people outside of our culture have to go on about us is all these negative stereotypes and these negative stigmas about our people and our culture. That's how they perceive us, and that's how they react and respond to us, because they don't have any other knowledge of us other than what's on television, in movies, in literature. And I already told you who controls all of that. Now, so that's basically my mission statement here on the Narrator podcast. As a matter of fact, I think that's a perfect segue into my tagline, the Narrator podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time, by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And that's precisely what I do here on the Narrator podcast. I provide positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. And that's what I try to encourage everybody that listens to do as well, is, responsibly use their platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, which is another perfect segue to what I call my listening audience. I call my listening audience my narrators. I call them that because, we are in the unique position to tell or narrate our own stories online. Basically, we live in a digital information age. You know, everything, all the information is gathered and compiled based on what people are posting online and what people appear to be interested in. All that culminates from whatever you post online. People equate you as an individual based on what you're posting online, what you're looking at online. So just imagine what our people look like as a whole to other people outside of our culture if we're always feeding into and, you know, embracing these negative stereotypes and stigmas that's placed over us. If we're feeding into gang culture, if we're feeding into, you know, drug culture on the using side and on the dealing side of it, pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture, like if we're sitting up there posting it online, you know, that's the general perception of us as a people. It's like I said, the media, although, you know, it's ran by some people that have a horrible, wicked agenda, at the core of it, it's a business. And like all businesses, you know, the core function of a business is supply and demand. And that's basically how businesses create products to, you know, supply the demand for a product. That's how all the information these days is gathered, is online by what you're posting and what you're clicking on. And so the market that the media is creating for our people is degeneracy. Because that's what we appear to look like to them that we're interested in. And that would explain all these crappy television shows, movies, books, and other forms of literature depicting our likenesses and images in a negative way. So it's up to us to, you know, change the narrative. So yeah, that's basically what my mission statement for the Narrator podcast is all about. Also, another misnomer about my podcast, I refer to our people, black people, as original people. I feel the word original is better suited to describe us as a people as opposed to black. Because for one, we're not black. Some of us are extremely dark-skinned, but there's no country called black. There's no nationality called black. You know, I know some people that propose the argument of black, like, you know, everything starts with black, with darkness, I get that, but, you know, original is just more like accurate, historically accurate, meaning like we were first here on the planet. You know, our existence predates, you know, all literature, all, you know, religious tract, all tablets, all, you know, anything they used to write with in early times. Our existence here predates all of that. All logs, all calendars, everything. It was here about 5,000 years before everybody else. And contrary to all unpopular belief, our existence didn't come from primates. We didn't evolve from monkeys. We were standing up, fully erect and sentient, fully clothed, wasn't dwelling in caves, was building cities, was building citadels, was building tools, you know, farming the land, everything. We didn't have no cranial overbite. We wasn't hunched over and grunting. That wasn't some other people. It wasn't us. But yeah, that's the primary reason why I refer to our people as original people, because it's historically accurate. Another reason I refer to our people as original people is because it's, it's a universal term. It's an all-inclusive universal term, because, no matter where we're located in the world, no matter what pronoun we go by, no matter what our belief systems are, our backgrounds, our political affiliations, whatever things that we have dividing us as a people, one thing we all have in common, because there's many different types of us hailing from many different corners of the globe, and I'm going to go on a little side tangent. We didn't get there to all these other places via slavery. While chattel slavery was real and it did happen, the majority of us didn't get in all these different parts of the world on slave boats. We was already indigenously located in parts of Europe, in parts of Asia, Australia, and everywhere. Even in North Pole and South Pole was already there. But yeah, that's just I'm just putting out the false narrative, that the powers that be just keep on trying to push about slavery. But it was real, it did take place, but not everybody got to where they're at in the world via slave boats, especially here in the Americas. But anyway, I got to sidetrack myself. That's the second reason why I refer to our people as original people. It's an all-inclusive term that links us together as a people, because despite, wherever we, come from in the world, whatever we believe in, whatever we call ourselves, whatever our pronouns are, we can all of us trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization. And that's what I mean when I say we're original people. So that's that. A few more misnomers before diving into the content today. First up, this is an audio platform. So I try to not exceed 1 hour per broadcast. I try to keep everything flowing and cohesive and straight to the point. So I try not to just basically prattle on, prevent myself from prattling on, and that way I can cover a vast array of topics in a short amount of time. Because this is, like I said, this is an all audio platform. I have to keep my listeners attentive and paying attention, and I can't do that if I'm just droning on and on. So this is, why this platform is time sensitive. So I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. Second thing, this is a full edition of the Narrator podcast. I have this, broadcast broken up into sections. Each section has a speaking points, and each section is timed. I try not to exceed a certain time limit for each section that I'm talking about. And then I'm also describe each section as I come to them, so you know what it's about. And then lastly, this is a positive space. This is a gossip-free zone. I don't engage in gossip, slander, or anything that hurts our people any worse than how we've already been hurt. Because the last thing we need to do is be, dragging each other through the mud, and I really try to discourage that on this platform. I don't try to indulge, engage, or entertain, brothers and sisters going back and forth online, dragging each other through the mud, because we already get dragged through the mud by, mainstream media, and we're the only group of people that get attacked from all sides. So the last thing we need to be doing as a people is using our platforms to attack each other. So I don't gossip, I don't slander. What I do is tell the truth now. I'm very truthful, opinionated and truthful. So I do commentary on here, and I try to be my very best to stay neutral and unbiased. But if, a brother or sister that I feel has a polarizing platform, and when like the general public looks at them, they see us as a people, if they're doing or saying something that got us all out here looking and sounding crazy, then I will address that. But other than that, I don't like call people out. I don't, drag people through the mud and all that. Pretty much everything I cover in commentaries, I frame everything up from the perspective of, the why perspective. Why did that happen? I'm all about accountability. I'm all about, being accountable for your own actions as a fully grown adult, but, as an original man, as original person, we would be remiss if we didn't, point out, these systemic flaws that preempt some of this behavior that we're engaged in. Because a lot of it, we've been programmed and conditioned by the powers that be to act in a certain way. And we all have like cultural, emotional triggers that's been like programmed into us. So like, we react and respond to each other a certain way because we've been programmed to. So like a lot of the dysfunction that happens within our community is because of that. And that's how basically I break down my commentary on when I'm reporting, talking about stuff happening in the world. I'm talking about it like from our perspective, especially things that happen within our community. So other than that, this is a gossip-free zone. I don't engage in gossip. I try to discourage against gossip. I think gossip is destroying our people. Like now, if you're, a platform that does celebrity news, it's a way you can do it, with, say your opinion and, sell it and make it entertaining so you can make it profitable for you. But it's a way to do it without like engaging in the gossip and, really pushing that narrative. It's a way to do it. It's a tasteful way to do it. And a lot of us are distastefully, engaging in celebrity news. So yeah, I think I've covered all my bases on gossip-free zone, positivity. Yep, I think I've covered everything. That's what you're in store for with the Narrator podcast. I've told you pretty much everything. If I left something out or if I glazed over something, I'm nearly 300 episodes. You can go on my episode log and just, have you a binge listening session to the Narrator podcast to get a full feel of my content. Other than that, yeah, I think I covered everything, and I'm about to kick this thing off. So like I said, I'm kind of switching up my format. I'm trying something new this week. I have it split up into sections. So this first section that I'm going to do this week, I have two other sections before this one, but like I said, I'm switching up the order. Just trying something different. We'll see. Because like I said, I'm devoted to efficiency. I'm trying to make this content as efficient as possible. I'm trying to cover a whole lot of topics in a short amount of time. So, we're going to try it. So up first, the first section of the Narrator podcast this week is the highlight section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original people. And the purpose of me doing this is to provide the listening audience with a positive frame of reference about entrepreneurship. Because remember, that's what I told you guys in my synopsis. That's what my entire podcast is dedicated to, is to provide the listeners with positive frames of reference. And I feel we're severely lacking in that area because unfortunately the very few frames of reference we have of success come in the form of reality television. So all our entrepreneurs we actually see on a regular basis is on like reality television, and the producers on that show, how they construct it, they play up toxicity and drama. So they play it up to where we're at our worst. They put, brothers and sisters on them shows earning anywhere from 5 to over 6 figures on a regular basis. They came from the mud. They got a successful brand. They have several companies and entities under their umbrella, but we don't see that on television. All we see is the dysfunction. All we see is, fighting amongst each other, gossiping and slandering each other and sticking each other in the back. We don't see the entrepreneurialism. We just see what the producers want us to see, which is dysfunction and chaos, because that's the light that they want to show us in. They want to show us downtrodden. They want to show us, in disarray, destitute, either financially, spiritually, or emotionally. That's, how they want us to capture our images on television. So in this section, what I'm doing is basically walking you through an entrepreneur's journey. I'm telling you about their product, how they started their business, how they came up with the concept. I'm basically just walking you through, and I'm highlighting all the high points of their career. So, I'm walking you through an entrepreneur's journey. That's what the highlight section is all about. You're getting, entrepreneur's journey, without all that drama and all the BS. I try to make them as elaborate as possible. Some of them are super brief because I couldn't find the information I was looking for online. The type of information that I've tried to provide the listeners with about the people that I highlight in the highlight section are, the name of their business, what year they got established, how they got the finances to start the business up, some obstacles they encountered in their journey, why they selected that particular product. I try to be just like as detailed as possible in this section, but if I can't find the information, I can't find the information, and I got what I got. But some other qualifying factors for me here on the highlight section of the Narrative podcast is that I look for is, one, of course, they're original people owned and operated. Two, they do give back to the community. They do some type of philanthropy, some type of advocacy. They either, have their own nonprofit organization or pay into the nonprofit organization or do something for the community. And then lastly, they align up with my theme. And my current theme is the season of winter. So like, what do you think about, whatever the business is synonymous with the season of winter or whatever season that we're in. So without any further ado, I'm diving in right now to the highlight section this week on the Narrator podcast. So as I said, we are still in the season of winter. It's still very cold all over the nation. So something that happens in the wintertime, people like to try to prepare for the summertime. And the best way to prepare for the summertime, a lot of people, it's air quotes, the new year. It's not really the new year, but for all intents and purposes, it's the new year. And most people's common New Year's resolution is to get in shape. That's what people do in the wintertime. They try to, increase their workout. And so, having said that, the businesses that I'll be highlighting in the highlight section of the Narrator podcast this week are original owned and operated businesses that specialize in fitness. So I'll be highlighting fitness gyms today. And the first fitness facility I will be highlighting today here on the Narrator podcast is the Hill House. Now, this is the Germanic spelling of it, German. It's not spelled H-O-U-S-E, it's spelled H-A-U-S. And the email address is www.hillhouse.com. And if you want to know some specific, if you got a specific question about it, you can go to info@hillhouse.com with all inquiries. It was established in 2018 in Brooklyn, New York, by a brother by the name of Dorian Hall and a sister by the name of Elise Shackle. The physical address is 1082 Fulton Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11238. So, like I said, it was established by a brother by the name of Dorian Hall and a sister by the name of Lisa Shackle. So Dorian's bio, he was formerly, his job before he started that fitness facility, he was a corporate employee in the medical. He was employed in the medical field. Nothing in the bio says specifically what he was doing in the medical field. I don't know if he was just selling like medical equipment or like was he just like hospital staff. I don't know, but he was in the medical field, and he actually was prompted him on his end to engage in this endeavor is, for the emotionally healed. He grew up without a father, and then like in 20, around right before he started the facility, he reconciled with his father, and that was very traumatic for him, and he had to heal. And like after that, he started, putting in the work to, get the proper healing, like in all aspects of it, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Which brings us to his partner, Elisa. Elisa is a former Pratt University grad. She was majoring in interior design, and she was also studying spiritual practices and holistic healing. She did that she had just naturally, well, it's not natural. It's more of diet, but For all intents and purposes, she had anxiety and depression, so she had started studying holistic medicine and healing. In addition to her already natural, anxiety, depression, she had to cope with the loss of her brother. So at some point, it doesn't really say where they hooked up or how they hooked up for the partnership, but they hooked up and created the Healing House, or the Heal House. And the Heal House basically is a yoga studio. They specialize in, of course, all the healing areas. They have, special trainers with special skill sets. So they do dabble in like the chakras and telepathy and all that, air quotes, quote unquote, new age stuff, but yoga is the primary focus on it. And so their mission statement is to create a safe space for accessible and all-inclusive healing. They want to include everybody in the healing process. They apply to they accommodate all people from all walks of life, but they're from our community, so of course they specialize with our problems, because if anybody's has, I would argue our people has the most trauma than anybody on the planet. So we definitely need healing, and that's something we kind of culturally don't discuss. There's not a lot of spaces to get healing because, unfortunately within our community, we kind of use religion as a band-aid, especially in the religion of Christianity. We just think we pray and just let, Jesus take the wheel, and we're not supposed to do nothing else. But yeah, you gotta get your mind right. You have to heal from all, trauma, past and present, if you're going to navigate and live in abundance on this physical plane. But essentially, that's basically how the Heal House came to be. I went to the website. It says they're temporarily closed. That physical address that I gave is temporarily closed, but they also have online classes, so they might still be doing online classes. But if you want to know more, go to the website, www.hillhouse.com, or just hit them up, info@hillhouse.com, with all your inquiries about their program. So let's give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Dorian and Elisa at the Heal House. All right, moving right along. Next order of business. Now, this next fitness center is called Al's Divine Fitness, and it's ALZ. So it's plural, like Al's ownership. ALZ' Divine Fitness. It's at the website is www.alsfitness.com. Physical address is 3903 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Bay 13, Fort Myers, Florida 33910. Telephone number 239-878-1971. It was established in the year 2020 by a brother named of Alfonso Hobson. Alfonso is an ex-military veteran. It didn't say, his bio didn't say what rank, whether he was an officer or lieutenant. It didn't say any of that or what branch he served in, but he's a military vet. He had a whole lot of trials and tribulations throughout his life. He basically had to go to the military to get his life straight. He was really kind of like a degenerate in the streets. He was addicted to marijuana and other drugs and alcohol. And so, of course, when he went to the military, he got some structure, he got discipline in the U.S. Armed Forces. He structured and disciplined his life. And he took that discipline later on in life. When he came home, he was still programmed to do the the military workout regimen. He met a friend in 2010 that was a fitness trainer, so he started, he became a fitness trainer a few years after he met his friend that taught him the ins and outs about being a personal trainer. And then after he got a few years as a personal trainer under his belt, he finally went on and opened up his own gym. And, his mission statement is just to get everybody healthy, active, in shape. As you notice, everybody's, when you're in shape, your mood changes, everything is elevated. You feel better about yourself, your outward appearance, self-esteem goes up. So that's his, mission statement is to encourage everybody to, work out. He has a real tight-knit faculty. He works hands-on with people, designing specialized fitness programs for the individual, because we all have a unique individual composition. So he works really hand-to-hand with you, finds out your diet, how you as an individual absorb certain nutrients and stuff, and the best workout to produce the best effects for whatever person. He also has group, of course, like group classes like spin classes and stuff like that. In addition to that, he's also real heavy on the dietetic side. He has pre-packaged meals accommodating all diets. He has pre-packaged like keto meals, prep meals. That's the word I was searching for. He has pre-prep meals that accommodate all diets: keto, pescatarian, vegan and vegetarian, paleo. So whatever diet that you're on, he can do a meal prep for you to accommodate your diet. So definitely go check him out if you're in the Florida area. And once again, his name is Alfonso Hobson, and the name of the gym is Al's Divine Fitness. So let's give it up for our brother Al at Al's Divine Fitness. All right, moving right along. Last but certainly most not least, this is a real motivational story. Last gem I'll be highlighting in the highlight section here on the Narrator podcast is Malik Jackson's fitness boxing gym. And the email or the web address is Malik Jackson revoked.fitness.com. And if you have any, tailored questions, some you would want to reach directly out to him, you go to hello@maliksfitness.com. Physical address is 926 North 2nd, Philadelphia, 19123. It was established, I think, in 2019. So his story is kind of unique. This is a little redemption story. Basically, he had been in trouble all his life, and if you know anything about Philadelphia, the streets are extremely mean and violent in Philadelphia. They call it the city of brotherly love, but ain't no love in that city, brother. He was born of 13 kids. I think he was number 6 out of 13. He started the street life early. He was selling drugs, doing breaking and enterings, breaking in people's houses, breaking in people's cars. I already said selling drugs, so just basically hanging, banging, and slanging out in the streets. Got sentenced. He did about 16 years in the joint. During his incarceration, he got started boxing. He started learning how to box while incarcerated. He got so good, he became like the number 1 boxing for his unit in his division. He started training other inmates to box. That's how good he got. And then basically he took that same tenacity and drive and applied it to the outside world. He got his GED while incarcerated. And then he started his own boxing gym sometime after, was released from the penitentiary. And his focus is on basically teaching the art of boxing to, as a discipline, because half the crime committed in the world, not just in our community, but in the world, is through lack of discipline. Because the deed to even commit crimes has to do kind of with your diet. And, there's a discipline factor in your dieting. So what you're eating, that's a discipline factor in there. So, his whole approach to fitness is discipline. So he disciplines people through the art of boxing. Just like he disciplined himself while he was incarcerated. And so that's, the art of boxing is good for that, teaching you discipline, that regiment. You don't necessarily have to get in the ring and box somebody per se. You can get a lot of discipline just doing boxing drills every single day, working your coordination and exercise, your calisthenics, weight training, precision, all that, breath control. No different than the martial arts. So yeah, like I said, he's an inspirational story. He is highly tapped into the community. He prides himself on having an economically sound program. Everything, all his classes are affordable. His most expensive class is $500 for the premium package. So it starts at $100, goes up to $500 is the most you would pay for a premium service at his gym. He offers internships, scholarships for the children, internships for people that's interested in starting or running their own gym one day. He also teaches people. He's very affluent on social media. So in addition to a gym trainer, he's like a social media guru or content creator. Like, he does like the motivational speeches and stuff. He has his own podcast. He has assistant trainer jobs always open. Partnerships. He has an anti-gun and violence program called Asium Dukes. He's written a book called From Incarceration to Inspiration. His gym even offers like marriage counseling. So they got a marriage counseling program, a boot camp, a marriage counseling boot camp. So it's like husband and wife, or these days, whatever. But like if you're married, you can go there, work out together physically, do a boxing workout, and then also on the emotional side of it, whatever problems you guys are having within your marriage, he helps with that too. And so, like I said, he's a social media influencer. He got his own podcast. He got his own like YouTube. You can just type his name in YouTube and subscribe to his YouTube channel. So we got all kinds of inspirational, motivational gems and nuggets. But definitely go support this brother at his gym. He turned his whole life around. And if you got the time and the patience, he'll make effort to help change your life around. So what do you got to lose? Go check him out if you're in Philly. Malik Jackson's Fitness Gym. I think I covered everything. Oh yeah, he also rents out a space, so you can hit him up and inquire about corporate meeting spaces. He does that. If you own your own business and you don't want to have a meeting, he can accommodate that. And he also does motivational talks for corporations, so he's available for hire for that. Like I said, he does motivational speeches, and he probably will train people, do some boxing, fitness type training for corporate employees. So he's good for that. You can book him for that. But definitely go check the brother out if you're in Philly. Malik Jackson's Fitness Gym. Let's give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for brother Malik at Malik's Fitness Boxing Gym in Philly. All right. Next section of the Narrative Podcast is called the Spotlight section. Now, in the Spotlight section, what I'm doing is I'm spotlighting prominent figures within our community. And the purpose of me offering the spotlight is, in this section, what I'm doing is I'm trying to, or I have created, a trend to basically offer brothers and sisters positive reinforcement for, all the good that they've done. Basically, this section is like all heroes don't wear capes section. Just appreciating and valuing a brother and sister doing something positive and impactful whether it be, some form of advocacy, whether it's, donating to a charity, speaking on our issues, what have you. Primarily why I do that, again, because the media teaches us, it's highly profitable to like slander each other, throw each other under the bus, take jabs at each other online. They made it highly profitable to do that. So, what I'm doing is in this space is normalizing being normal, saying something positive about your brother and about your sister instead of always saying something denigrating and using your platform to, take our brother or sister down a couple pegs. So, like, we've been programmed and conditioned to do that by the powers that be. Like, they love pitting us against each other. They love stirring the pot. Like, we don't have to, like, be in love with each other. We don't have to just, it always be sunshine, rainbows, and roses, but, we don't have to be mortal enemies either. So that's what this section is about. Primarily, when I first started doing this, I focused on entertainers, such as like actors, actresses, recording artists, public figures, TikTokers, YouTubers, doing something positive, even religious figures. But since then, as of late, religious figures aren't, entertainers, but, it's kind of a gimme. But as of late, I've just really trying to be focused on just normal people, just to kind of break that the negative stereotype. All we know how to do is entertain. So I'm trying to, focus more on normal people these days. But I may start, spotlighting some celebrities again a little later on. In months to come, we'll see. But yeah, that's essentially what the narrative, the spotlight section here on the Narrative Podcast is all about. Is just like the section where I'm giving a brother or sister their roses for, doing something positive. This is the All Heroes Don't Wear Capes section. And not for nothing, since I've been doing it, it's caught on, and I am going to say, I started the wave for spotlighting. Because before I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody. Like now everybody got a podcast, a talk show, interviewing somebody, got a talk show or something where they're interviewing somebody or doing a meet and greet or whatever. Now, the phrase is kind of coined today will be spotlighting. So-and-so and so-and-so is such today will be spotlighting. Nobody was spotlighting nobody before I started spotlighting. Me, Halsey Allen, on the Narrative Podcast. So I got to just, kind of like pop my collar on that, because nobody was spotlighting anybody until I started it.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. But yeah, I pretty much started spotlighting. Nobody was really spotlighting anyone until I started doing it. I'm not like mad that nobody like acknowledges me for it. As long as I'm impacting and making a difference and seeing more the numbers go up for people using their platforms in a positive way to say something nice about a brother or sister, congratulating a brother or sister, that makes me feel good too, because this section is just all about, my entire podcast is all about positive reinforcement of our people and our culture, but especially this section right here is, reinforcing a certain individual for doing noble acts. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right on into it. This week's spotlight here on the Narrative Podcast is a brother by the name of Muhammad Yungai. I believe that he's Nigerian. Yungai, Yungai. And he's a muralist in Atlanta at Kit Vision Academy. And Kit Vision Academy, of course, is largely original people, all the young ladies and all the young men that attend this particular school are, out of our community, the original people community, mostly. And so when he started painting the picture, he's kind of like me in a sense, or at least I think he is. That's why I kind of chose a spotlight, and he knows about the importance of images. Like, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So when he was creating this mural at this school, he was using like children in his program. So he is making a mural so, they can look and see their face, somebody that looks like them. He's trying to teach our children the beauty of themselves, like their skin, to be proud of who they are as a people, to walk upright and have that, that confidence and esteem and, that feeling of self-worth. Because like I said, the powers that be, they manipulate the media and they portray our images in a negative light. And it's like real hard to get that glimmer and image of pride, dignity and strength and decorum. So this brother, he capitalized on that, knowing, there was a need for that to, ignite that spark within our children so they can see something positive. And he wants them to see something positive every time they come through those doors. They got that mural. So, he's using his art to impact our youth. So, yeah, for all his accomplishments, I'm going to give this brother Muhammad, I'm going to just say Muhammad because I keep on messing up his last name, the warmest Narrative Podcast round of applause and salute for his mural at Kit Vision Academy in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. All right, moving right along. Next section here on the Narrative Podcast is the health and wellness section. Now, the health and wellness section, it is just how it sounds. It's about health and wellness. In this section, I'm giving health and wellness tips. The reason why I feel I need to give health and wellness tips is because our people, suffer. Our people's health is really in question. The powers that be, they're putting things in our air, water, and products that we use every day that impact us in a negative way, and outside of that, also mentally and spiritually, the types of games that they're playing with us, the way they're manipulating us, really manipulating everybody, but especially our people. And I already told you why. So yeah, this section is basically to armor up, to serve as preventative measures for our people, to armor up in all the areas that we're being attacked. So sidebar, my podcast is for everybody, but my primary demographic for the Narrator podcast is original people, especially in this section. And I already told you why, especially why we need it. And contrary to all unpopular belief, everybody, we're not all equal. We all have a unique genetic composition. We all have unique cultural differences, dietetic needs. We react to weather a certain way. We react to spirituality and religion a certain way. Everybody's different. So, what works for you probably won't work for me. It's certain types of, products you use, I can't use. Certain products I use, you can't use. So, dietetic-wise, being original people, if we're just talking about things to eat, we need, for our composition, we need electrical-based foods to, fully thrive. So, yeah. But basically the types of tips you will hear here on this section in the Narrator podcast, if we're talking about physical, the types of, substances you will use to increase your health, to sustain longevity, I'll be talking about the health benefits of a fruit, vegetable, herb, plant extract, or an elixir that you can ingest or apply topically to improve your health, or some type of physical exercise you can perform to stay in good health. That's on the physical side of it. On the mental side of it, when I'm talking about, mental health, like I said, we're all different culturally. We all have different, mental triggers. So good mental health for original people that I'll be talking about: mindful breathing, meditation, awareness, being, controlling your thoughts, controlling your emotions, being aware of your emotions. Because like I said, this media is really wicked and horrible, the way they, manipulate information and, attack your emotions, try to turn your emotions against you. So you have to be in good mental health at all times. On the spiritual side of it, like even Stephen Wonder can see, there's something spiritual going on in Hollywood. We're definitely, as a people, we're being spiritually attacked too, even if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in a higher power, there's something spiritual going on, and you need to guard against your spirit. And I tell you ways to do that, tips to guard against your spirit, such as prayer, such as meditation, and other spiritual practices you can incorporate for a strong spiritual journey. And then, I think I said physical, mental, spiritual. And then for a curveball, every once in a blue moon, I'll start talking about, divine law, quantum law, law of, attraction, esoteric type stuff, every once in a blue moon. But today is a physical day, and we'll be focusing on the physical attributes of the dates. So dates come from the date palm tree. They're naturally a natural antioxidant. They're high in fiber. They have flavonoids, and the flavonoids contribute to the anti-inflammatory. And you want to have anything that has anti-inflammatory properties if you're an original person, and especially if you're a meat eater. Dr. Sebi has taught us, inflammation is the root cause of all diseases. So if you got inflammation anywhere in your body, sicknesses and disease is sure to follow. It also has carotenoids, and carotenoids are essential for heart health. Folic acid is good for help to promote healthy brain functions, and it regulates blood sugar. It's good for bone health. It increases bone density, and it's a natural sweetener. Dates are just naturally sweet. They're sweeter than any candy you'll ever eat. So for people that have sugar cravings, dates is the way to go. I seen something on TikTok that I want to try. It's like a Snicker. They're using the cacao. They melt the cacao and they pour it over, and then essentially in some tahini, I think, and peanuts, and then basically they're making a Snicker bar with the date. But it's an all-natural version of the Snicker bar. That looks really good. I might try that and let y'all know how it worked out. But yeah, dates is the way to go. They'll clean your skin. High in fiber, so they're good if you're trying to diet because they'll make you feel full. High calorie content is on only downside. So if you eat a lot of them, you will gain weight. And if you're not exercising like you need to be exercising, you will gain a lot of weight if you don't, exercise. But like I said, it's a good sweetener. If you got a sweet tooth, dates is the way to go. Of course, you want organic dates. Of course, you want them with the pit in. You want to stay away from the pitted ones. Speaking of the pit, like if you take the date pit out, if you're a coffee drinker, if you grind the date pit, that can, it brews a real mean cup of joe. Like if you're a coffee drinker, you like to drink coffee, that's a good coffee bean replacer. You get all that coffee flavor with none of the caffeine and none of the after effects like coffee breath and caffeine jitters. So, date pit, ground up date pit is a good alternative. But yeah, so the health tip this week, today on the Narrator podcast is the health benefits of dates. Try incorporating dates in your diet and see how much it changes for you. All right, moving right along is my speaking points of the day. And my speaking point of the day is basically about current events going on all over the world. And the purpose of me talking about, current events is basically to control the narrative. Because as I said, the media paints a false narrative. They weave a false narrative, they flip it and manipulate it. And, if we're involved in it any type of way, they'll vilify us and just have us looking and sounding crazy. So that's the purpose of me, doing commentary on current events. In the event, if I don't have anything or I don't see anything happening in the news that I feel is relevant enough to talk about, I just do a PSA, and the PSA along the lines of something I noticed within our culture that we should do as a people And by we, I mean me, and sometimes, in many cases, me especially. But yeah, I do got a couple things I want to talk about. So I might have talked about it last week during my live, but I talked about so many topics. I went off topic, and I'm not sure if I covered it in depth, but something that's really kind of concerns me. China most recently has developed an invisibility suit. So if you're here in America, like in the original people community, like just think of the ramifications of that. If like, you know, they start handing out invisibility suits to law enforcement, because they're already just barging into our homes anyway without, you know, search warrants or affidavits. They're just like tricking their way into our houses anyway. You know, tricking her, you know what I mean? So just imagine if like law enforcement with these invisibility suits, you know, they can hop up in your car, you'll never know they're in your vehicle, be in the back seat, ride with you all the way to the house, come up in your house. It's just like, it's scary beyond belief. Like, I don't even want to think about it. But ain't nothing new under the sun. I think it's just, they're just now unveiling it to the rest of the world. I think it's been around for quite a while. Something else that kind of perturbs, I think, deserves our attention. The wealthy are starting to buy fallout shelters. That's what's trending all over social media now, is wealthy people are buying fallout shelters. Now, I'm not a big fan of keeping up with the Joneses, but I am an observant person. And you need to, especially if you live here in the United States of America, you need to always observe wealthy people, what they're doing as far as stuff like that. Because wealthy people, first, you know, upper class, they're privy to information that, you know, working class and upper middle and working class and lower class are not privy to. They know stuff. So like they're connected to people like right in the government. So there's something coming, or they think there's coming, that will require them to go underground. Now, here's the part where you accuse me of being a conspiracy theorist. Like right before that thing, like right when we start coming out that thing, back in 21, on my platform, 21, 22 sometime, I started talking about, they had started having underground shelters near like, you know, fallout type S shelters of these factories. They got all bulk supplies of food and stuff, like from places like Whole Foods, Costco, and Walmart. These like little underground factories holding all these supplies like toilet paper and stuff. So like, what's been to happen? Said all that to say, you better start getting yourself a higher ground plan. That's the biggest reason why I took off for so long. Like right after the holidays, I've been working on my higher ground plan. And I suggest you all work on your higher ground plan too. I'm not saying be fearful and not, you know, be afraid to live life. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, you know, be observant and watch what's going on around you. All these wealthy people are not buying these fallout shelters for no reason. Now, because the wealthy people, like right before the thing hit, if you notice, they like had already started going online, like right before the thing hit. If you paid attention, people was buying them MREs, the meals ready to eat. That was the trend. That was trending all over social media right before we went into quarantine lockdown. So now these wealthy people are sitting up here buying fallout shelters. I'm just saying. What's going on else in the news? Really ain't too much to talk about. The orange guy, he's been to be president again. Just like I said, he swept Iowa. So if you follow politics or profess to know anything about politics, Iowa is like a battleground state. The campaign trail starts and ends in the state of Iowa. If you sweep Iowa in it's said, if you sweep Iowa in the preliminaries, you're guaranteed to be president of the U.S., provided you even believe in the democracy and everything, the voting process, factoring in the electoral voting college and all that. But just like he swept it last time and became president. So, said all that to say, like, if you don't like him, didn't like his policies and didn't like his mouth, like, well, you're about to be disappointed all over again because the dude's been to be president. He swept the state of Iowa. Like, been saying it. I don't approve. I'm not endorsing him as a president. I'm just like a person that I consider I have a relative amount of common sense, and anybody with a relative amount of common sense can see this guy's been to be president again. What else is happening? Brick Lady. So Brick Lady, apparently she's trending again. Like I said, my platform isn't designed for gossip. I don't like talking about people, but I do keep it real. Liars always get their comeuppance somewhere. When you tell lies, you always get caught up. And she got caught up. So she's like, karma will come for you if you're a liar. All liars get it in the end. So, she told some outrageous lies. She insulted like pretty much everybody in the nation's intelligence. She caused a big rift within our community, the original people community, because she sparked this whole little debate like, the black man don't protect the black woman and don't respect the black woman, and the whole time she was lying. It all stemmed from her lying. Ain't nobody touched her. Because some people was like, yeah, that's what she gets. She walked up there and smacked that dude. So what? You don't let no man sit up there hit a woman with a brick, And she never got hit, bruh. She was lying the whole time. But that's what's trending, like. So I got like real low energy for that. I don't even want to expel any more energy talking about it. Like I said, all liars get their comeuppance. Like, if you lie about something, you're going to get it in the end. Like, you might on the surface be getting away with your lie, but eventually your lie catch up to you, and you're going to pay for it some area of your life. Some area, either your finances, something's not going to work out for you. Something's not going to swing your way in some certain area of your life if you lie. I mean, I mean, telling the truth, we've all lied. Embellishment, that's a lie. If you like making something seem worse than what it really was or better than what it really was, that's a form of a lie. Like everybody lies, but the type of lie she told though, like, yeah. She's getting their comeuppance. I don't know what else to say about that. There's way more stuff happening, but that's kind of all I felt like talking about today. I'll save it for another time. One little thing I want to make a retraction. I don't really think I'm a journalist, but like a responsible journalist, they will retract the statement if they find out something wasn't accurate. So on my last broadcast, I said Cat Williams never said Illuminati in his interview, and he absolutely did say it. That's kind of what has sparked the whole debate and why it's still viral. He absolutely did say it. But yeah, I just want to retract that statement. He did say it. I thought he didn't. It was a 2.5 hour, because he was saying so much stuff. It's just like, you know what I mean? Have you ever met somebody that just don't let you get a word in edgewise and you're trying to listen and digest everything they're saying? That was that interview. It was a beautiful piece of chaos. It was just like, wow. But he absolutely did say it. I said he didn't on my live broadcast of the Narrative podcast last week, Thursday. So he did say it. That's all I want to correct. Sheesh. What else is going on? Brick Lady. Yeah, I talked about everything. So that'll wrap it up for the speaking points of the day. And now here's where I switch it up this week. I'm going to do 2 sections that I normally do at the beginning of my broadcast. So I switched it up this week just to kind of measure my time limit that I set for myself, my 1 hour. First up, a section that I usually start with is the promo section. And this section is what it sounds like. It's a promotional section. I'm giving original people the opportunity to reach out to me and promote their business, product, or service, or what event or whatever they got going on that they need or would like promoted. And the purpose of me doing that is to promote, original people-owned businesses, so I can help circulate the original dollar within the original people community. While we are due reparations, until we get it, we have to support one another. We got to support each other's businesses. We got to patronize each other. If you're not going to patronize a business, promote a business. Use your platform to promote a business. So that's precisely what I'm doing in this section, is I'm promoting original people owned and operated business. So if you're an original person that owns and operates your own business, feel free to reach out to me, Halsey Allen, at passionwebmail, at poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type promo. In the body of the email, tell me a little bit about yourself, business, product, or service, or whatever you would like, need, or would like promoted. Let me know. And I'll gladly promote it for you for free of charge right here on my platform, the Narrative Podcast. I'm going to run it back again. For the free promotion, hit me up, Halsey Allen, at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type promo in the body of the email. Tell me a little bit about yourself, business, product, service, or whatever thing that you need or like promoted. Be specific as possible. And that way the promotional advertisement would be better. So I have all the specifics. If you got a physical address, I can give them the directions and info about the building, the occupancy, how much they hold, and All right, so my second section that usually comes at the beginning of the Narrator podcast, but I moved around this week, is the contest section. In the contest section, what I'm doing is I'm hosting a contest specifically for my platform, the Narrator podcast. And to enter the contest, what the contest is about. First of all, the name of the contest is the Chew on This contest. And the prize is a bulk supply of your favorite snack. And I'm giving it away basically like incentive / reward for people that's been loyally listening to my podcast / interaction homework, like just basically testing the water to see who's paying attention. So I'm going to give away a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item for entering this contest. And the name of the contest is called the Chew on This contest. And it's called the Chew on This contest because I'm giving a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item for participating in it. And then the second part of the chew is like chew on something, like think about it. Think about the topic, and the topic is share your most recent shopping while black experience. And if you do that, I give you a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item. And to enter the contest, hit me up at the exact same email address that I just gave for the promo. The only difference is I'm splitting them up between the subject bars. So if you want to enter the Chew on This contest, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type Chew on This / shopping while black. Body of the email. Make sure to include your mailing address so I know where to send your prize, which is a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item. Your most recent shopping while black experience, because that's the contest topic. And then lastly, include what snack food item you would like for as your prize for entering the Chew on This contest. I'm going to run it back one more time. To enter the Chew on This contest, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type Chew on This / shopping while black. If you do not want to type the entire word shopping while black, you can type SWB in all caps. In the body of the email, make sure to include your mailing address so I know where to send your prize. Your most recent shopping while black experience, because that's the contest topic. And then lastly, include your snack food item that you would like for as your prize. And that's it, and that's all. The Chew on This contest. And now to my final section of the Narrator podcast, and I'll be closing this evening or afternoon or whenever by the time I share it back on social media. Is my final thought of the day or final word of the day. My final thought of the day or final word of the day is basically a philosophical gem, a pearl of wisdom, just something to make you think, just a deep thought. You can take it if you can get something out of it. If you can't, the message probably wasn't for you, but I know all my final thoughts and final words relate to somebody. So if that somebody's you, then the word will reach you. But anyway, so my final thought or the final word of the day, and I say final thought / final word because a thought, the way these things come to me like a phrase, the final thought is usually a phrase, something we commonly say every day. And then, I'll show you where it applies, or a final word if it's like I'm just deep in thought and a word keeps popping up in my mind. So this week on the Narrator podcast is the final word of the day. Actually, 2 words came up. So the first word is timing. Timing is one of my final words of the day. And, there's an old stereotype about our people that, we on CPT time, we on colored people time. And I think we definitely all have been programmed and conditioned to accept that stereotype, and we need to do our best to break that generational curse. Because timing, when you're on time for something, like you can't control what happens in time. So if you want something, it'll just happen in due time. If you're working on a project, you're doing something, the success and the outcome is going to come with time. But what I mean by timing is being on time. Because when you're on time, it's intentional. It's habitual. You know what I mean? If you're on time, everything else is going to be right on time. Because it's professional. When you show up on time, people, you're reliable, you're dependable, you're right on time. You're a credible source, being on timing. And then when you're on time, it also creates the healthy habit of being responsible. And then you can diligently manage your time. Because you're thinking like, dang, how does this always catch up to me? Paying your bills on time. And just like having more discipline with yourself. Finishing projects you start. Keeping your word. Because believe it or not, procrastination leads to lying and you got to cover stuff up. But if you create the healthy habit of being on time, all the other things will just fall in place. Like you just will be looking different, moving different, talking different. So like the common phrase in hip hop today, I don't know what type of time you on, but if you're on time, you'll always know what type of time you on. You're on, a scale of efficiency. Like, let's go. We don't got all day to dwell on this. Now, so like when I'm saying work on your timing, I don't mean to rush it and just do it all sloppy and to the point it's not even worth nothing. I'm just saying be on time. Start when you say you're going to start. And then that'll help you also in the creation stage when you're working on something. How long did this take? And you can build systems to make whatever you're working on be more efficient. So you'll spend less time chasing down leads that don't work. having conversations that's going nowhere. So that's what I mean by timing. And then my next word that kind of came to my mind was test. And I think I said it the last time I did a full episode of the Narrator podcast, but I said it in the context of realize when you're being tested. But this time what I mean is test, perform your own test. Because like a lot of times people would say, oh, just take that first step, just do it, just do it, just do it, just do it. Nah, you got to test it. You got to test the waters first, see if it'll work. You ain't going to just jump in boiling water, are you? If you have an infant child, you're going to just dump your infant child into some scalding hot water without testing it first to see if it's, warm enough to warm them up, but not hot enough to burn or singe their infant flesh, because you don't want to hurt them. And that's what in life you have to do. You have to test things out. You got to test your relationships, whether it's romantic or a friendship. Every once in a while, you got to test it to see, does this work? Is this acceptable? Is this interaction worth having? You got to test things out before you just commit to it every single day. Buy a vehicle. What do? Most of the people, when you go to the dealership, you take it for a what? A test drive to see how it handles the road. So testing isn't, doubting your belief and doubting your faith. Testing is just there to say, okay, this works, this could be better, right? Because Americans, what do we like to do? We like to eat. And so when you go to them restaurants, what you do? You testing the food. You order something you ain't never had before. You're testing it, right? To see if you like it. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. Go to the movies. I just did 2 movie reviews on my last episode. Tested to see if I liked it. But everything you come encounter with, you should test. Now, the only thing you shouldn't test is if you're like trying to bully somebody, trying to test somebody in that way. Because you might get something you didn't count on. You might get a whole can of worms you didn't expect. So don't test people like that. But everything else in life, just see if it holds up. Just test it out and see if it works. And that's been the final thought here on the Narrator podcast. And with that being said, it's a rapper dapper. This episode of the Narrator podcast is now concluded. Join me next week for another full episode of the Narrator podcast. I also broadcast during the weekday. I never know what days during the weekday I'm going to have available. So, tune in to wherever you get your podcast from. Just keep your ear to the podcast scene, wherever you get your podcast from, so you don't miss a live episode of the Narrator podcast. And the best way to do that is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube, so subscribe to that channel. Hit the subscription button and the notification button, because this platform that I'm on broadcasts directly to YouTube when I'm broadcasting live. And it also broadcasts directly to X. So follow me on X too. I'm Halsey Allen. You will never miss a live episode of the Narrative podcast. Also, I've written a book titled The Black Card. The Black Card is available on poetizer.com. Poetizer.com has a virtual online bookstore. So go to poetizer.com's virtual online bookstore and look for my title, The Black Card. And it's a book of poetry written by me. Basically, The Black Card is an all-comprehensive look at a glimpse of our culture, us as a people and our culture. The Black Card will make a good coffee table read or a travel book or just, chill type of book to relax with. It's very creative. Essentially, it's a survival guide. So go to poetizer.com today and go to their virtual bookstore and get my copy of The Black Card, or The Black Card written by me, Halzie Allen. Pick your copy up of The Black Card today, or get your Black Card revoked. So one more thing. Next week, when I'm on again, when I broadcast again next week, I will start incorporating Black History Facts, as February is the start of Black History Month. And as we all know, February is not an entire month. So I'm going to start my Black History Facts next week when I broadcast. Today is the 20th, so yeah, Black History celebrations all over the nation. And now it's kicking off around the 24th, 25th to compensate, for February not being an entire month long, like 30 days to 31 days. So we're the only recognized group that don't get a whole 30 days. But anyway, it is what it is. But I have some Black History Facts starting next week on every broadcast. Well, that's it and that's all. This episode of the Narrator Podcast is officially wrapped. So join me next weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. Keep your ear to the podcast circuit, wherever you get your podcast from, so you don't miss a live edition of the Narrator Podcast. But, Narrator Podcast is officially a wrap today. I'm Halzie Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm inviting you to join me on my voyage by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time, you can change the narrative on your end one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halzie Allen and the Narrator Podcast signing off, and it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halzie Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.